From one of the most incredible calvings ever caught on camera, and an iceberg shooter bursting out of the sea, to a group of kayakers caught in tsunami-like waves, and a 100-foot chunk of ice collapsing into the water below. Here are 10 unbelievable glacier calvings and tsunamis that were caught on camera. About 35 billion tons of icebergs calve or collapse into the Ilulissat ice fjord in Greenland every year. The Jakobshavn Glacier, also known as the Ilulissat Glacier, can produce icebergs up to 3,000 feet tall. So you can imagine the waves they make when they crash into the freezing water. Armed with a camera and plenty of luck, this glacier enthusiast watched as one of those monsters calved into the water and triggered a series of 15-foot tsunami waves. Don't let your eyes fool you. Most of this iceberg's actual mass is hidden underwater. We watch as the beast slowly rises up and then collapses in on itself. 15-foot tsunami waves crash into the shore, and all the ice eventually floats down the fjord and out to the ocean. The icebergs in this video took about 250,000 years to grow to that size, but only 10 minutes to break apart. The Greenland ice sheet covers about 660,000 square miles of Greenland's surface area, making it the second largest ice sheet in the world next to Antarctica. According to NASA, the Helheim Glacier is the fastest-flowing glacier on Greenland's eastern border. Named after the Nordic land of the dead, this ice wall has captured scientists' attention for nearly 2 decades. Between 2000 and 2005, Greenland's glaciers began retreating inland at a rapid pace, and Helheim dumped way more ice into the ocean than expected. Then, in 2013, one enthusiast witnessed a truly awe-inspiring sight. The colors are stunning as we watch the massive ice wall move across the surface. Soon, another enormous chunk starts moving away from the main ice sheet and then slowly disintegrates. What's left almost looks like the giant ice wall from Game of Thrones. NASA has kept its eye on the Helheim Glacier since 1997 thanks to a device called an Airborne Topographic Mapper, or ATM. The ATM uses a laser to measure the height of the glacier each year, telling NASA how much it's lost since last year's measurements. If you find yourself exploring the Los Glaciares National Park in Santa Cruz, Argentina, make sure your tour group stops by the Perito Moreno Glacier. This glacier is one of the most popular tourist attractions in the entire country. On February 25th of 2022, this tour group learned why so many people flock to Perito Moreno every summer. Bits and pieces of the glacier break off as the tourists watch in amazement. Soon, the entire wall gives way, leading to a massive iceberg shooter rising up from the ocean. The shooter creates a small tsunami, but the wave doesn't seem to pose any threat. Shooters occur when giant icebergs, sometimes the size of houses, break off at the base of the ice cliff over 600 feet below the surface. They rocket up from the depths and shoot out of the water. The bright sapphire color is due to millions of tons of pressure over thousands of years. Iceberg shooters are one of the rarest events in Mother Nature, as there is little warning before it happens. You should consider yourself extremely lucky if you ever see one. The Perito Moreno Glacier is the third largest freshwater reserve in the world, presumably behind the ice sheets in Antarctica and Greenland. The glacier is named after Francisco Moreno, a 19th century pioneer who studied the Patagonia region. On another trip to the Perito Moreno Glacier in March of 2020, a different group of tourists witnessed one massive chunk of ice falling off the glacier and crashing into the frozen water below.
C'est beau.
Most glacial calvings begin the same way. Small chunks fall off from the bottom, and then one massive piece collapses under its own weight. Our tourists watch in awe as a 240-foot iceberg splits from the wall and slides into the water, creating an enormous ripple effect. At 2.8 million square miles, the Los Glaciares National Park is the largest park in Argentina. Tourists come from all over the world to watch the tranquil glacial calvings when the season's right. But Perito Moreno isn't always so calm. People have been flocking to the Argentinian glaciers for a long time. This footage from 1988 is an excellent blast from the past. It shows us what the area used to look like before 3 decades of erosion. From the sound of it, a decently sized crowd gathered to watch Perito Moreno shed some weight on February 17th of 1988. Rough waters surge through a glacial archway in Perito Moreno as massive chunks of ice break off the walls and slide into the rapids. The archway begins breaking away and manages to hold on for a while before finally collapsing into the water. Perito Moreno is one of the few glaciers on Earth that maintains a state of equilibrium, meaning it gains about as much mass as it loses each year. Glacial archways like this seem to be a common theme among many Perito videos, appearing in clips from 2006, 2008, 2012, and 2016. Longyearbyen is the northernmost settlement in the world, with a population greater than 1,000 people. Located in Svalbard, Norway, they're known for their massive glacial walls, where temperatures drop below -15 degrees Fahrenheit in the winter and only peak at 49 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer. The Svalbard glaciers make up about 6% of the world's glacial area outside of Antarctica and Greenland. They're apparently a hotspot for tourists and polar bears alike, as seen in this video. A mama polar bear sits with her cub, unaware that the ice wall behind her is about to fall. A small piece falls off, and she turns her head to see what's up. Then, the main chunk comes crashing down, causing Mama Bear to get on her feet and investigate. Most polar bears live in the Arctic, but the Svalbard archipelago in Norway is one of the few places on Earth humans can regularly see them in the wild. About 3,000 polar bears live in Svalbard and the Barents Sea area, which is about 3 polar bears for every 1 human. The Chuniga is a famous glacier on the Kenai Peninsula in Alaska. It sits in the Nassau Fjord, a 4-mile inlet that branches off the Prince William Sound. While the water is freezing cold, it doesn't stop eager kayakers from paddling out near the wall, hoping to watch a glacial calving in real life. One group of kayakers got more than they bargained for when the collapsing ice wall sent 10-foot waves their way.
Yeah. Woohoo! That was cool!
Now, we can't see the glacier collapsing, but we do see some big waves coming for our kayakers. If they weren't in the middle of freezing cold water, these waves might not be that big of a deal. But capsizing out here is probably the worst thing that could happen. Thankfully, they keep their kayaks pointed straight ahead and ride the three waves up and over. Chiniga is a tidewater glacier, meaning it goes through natural cycles of growth and loss. This makes calving more common and Chiniga a more popular tourist destination. Jökulsárlón is the most famous glacier lagoon in Iceland and a popular destination for anyone traveling along the country's southern coast. The lagoon is filled with melted glacial water from the surrounding ice walls, but is most famous for the giant floating icebergs that break away and float in the water. As one group of tourists learned, these icebergs are still pretty buoyant for something that weighs hundreds of thousands of pounds. Some of them even perform fun tricks. From the safety of their boats, these tourists watch as this massive, house-sized iceberg rolls over like a well-trained dog. Its underside is full of gorgeous shades of blue, making it look like a giant crystal in the middle of Jökulsárlón Lagoon. So, if they're so heavy, why do icebergs float? Well, salt water is slightly denser than ice, so while most of the iceberg's mass sits below the surface, the tip still floats above the water. According to National Geographic, there is no such thing as a saltwater iceberg. The Harding Ice Field is a massive, ice field on the Kenai Peninsula in Alaska. It is named after President Warren G. Harding, the 29th U.S. president between Woodrow Wilson and Calvin Coolidge. On May 15th of 2022, a group of tourists watched as a massive 100-foot chunk of ice suddenly broke from the glacier and crashed into the water, triggering a mini tsunami. You can hear the excitement in the crowd as they watch the ice wall collapse. The displacement triggers a small tsunami wave headed straight for their boat, but it doesn't look too strong when the video cuts out. President Harding was the first U.S. president to visit Alaska, which was still a territory at the time. That visit was enough to name the ice field after him, as he spent 2 weeks exploring the area. However, he died shortly after returning to the United States. A series of scandals broke after his death, causing Harding to go down as one of the worst presidents in U.S. history. With just over 1,400 residents, Uummannaq is the 8th largest town in Greenland. I'm not very fluent in Greenlandic, so I apologize if I mispronounce that. It sits on an island of the same name on the southwestern coast, about 370 miles north of the Arctic Circle. Most people on the island get around via boats in the summer and dog sleds in the winter. The water surrounding the island is filled with massive glaciers and icebergs. In January of 2013, one of them collapsed into Spraulibukten Bay and triggered a mini tsunami. Vi generer! Hey!
Na?
It's hard to tell with the shaky footage, but it looks like the camera started rolling after the collapse. The wave moves slowly towards the shore, giving a few people enough time to move or secure their boats. But when the wave finally hits, some unattended boats get caught in the rough water. Ooh, fun fact about culture in Uummannaq: Danish and Greenlandic parents tell their children that Santa Claus lives near Sprouliebukten Bay. The post office is even called Santa's mail office, and there's a big red post box behind the church where Santa gets his mail. If you enjoyed this video and want to see another just like it, be sure to click the link on screen now. As always, thanks for watching, and be sure to tune in next time.